of neem powder and turmeric powder mixed together. I just recently started, at least about maybe 3 weeks ago, and I noticed a lot of difference in that. But the one herb that I'm really keen on now is the harataki. That harataki has really proven to do exactly what it says. And that's cleaning the liver and the kidneys. But the one organ you forgot to mention was the lungs, because when we breathe, we release at least 65% of the toxins from our body through our breaths. That's one of the major regulative processes of getting toxins out of our system, especially our blood. But Hirataki has been one that, because it has an array of different things that it does, from rejuvenating the body as far as the skin, the hair, the whole, from the bones to every parts of your tissues, the hard and soft tissues. So Hirataki has been something that I've been constantly with. Of course, stinging nettles has been something I do use, but not often. Hirataki is something that I've been able to go to every day, and apply to my standard of just making sure my body's regulating properly. And one of the key things that it may not be an herb per se, but a mixture of making sure you have a bowel movement first thing in the morning. Because that overnight factor of your body at rest, cleaning and moving things around, separating things, getting all the toxins and gathering into the elimination channels. You want to make sure you're flushing that stuff out of you, and you're not just keeping it in to where it recycles, because toxins, the body is finicky, where it will allow things to circulate in the blood for 3 months before it starts to dump out and get rid to eliminate. If you don't allow it to go through its first cycle of what it's normally supposed to do. So you have to know that as it circulates, and then at 3 months, it can get lodged here or there, become fat, become part of production of cancer or tumor or anything. So you want to make sure you have in the body flush, and drinking some kombucha at night, helps to really flush that gut out first thing in the morning, to where you're getting that good bowel movement, and you'll feel even in your day how easy and relaxed you are on your nervous system, where you're able to kind of move and deal with your emotions a lot better too, because that's even dealing with toxicity too on your emotions. But yeah, those are the herbs that I like to share: Hirataki, neem, and turmeric. Thank you for letting me share.
I have a question, Tiro. How do you consume the neem and the turmeric?
Well, I make it into a capsule. I put it in a capsule form, half and half, 500 milligram capsules. So that's $250 a piece. And that's I usually just take one a day, first thing in the morning when I wake up, when I drink my water, for my day, and that's generally what I do before I even decide to put anything else in my mouth.
Also, I didn't want you to forget that I forgot the lungs. I'm sorry, I didn't want you to think I forgot the lungs. I didn't mention them, but I did include the lungs in that 5 to 6 hours. The last hour actually is your lungs. I think, what is that? That's 1 to 3 in the morning, or 2 to 4 in the morning?
Yes, exactly.
Hey, Sherry, did you want to say something really quickly?
Yes, I just had a general question. Thank you for allowing me to speak on your platform. I wanted to know, have any of you guys tried or heard of diatomaceous earth?
Yes, I have, 25 pounds of it.
So, have you taken it?
Yeah, mainly it's for getting rid of the parasites, the eggs of the parasites, the different sizes from the adolescents to the adults of the parasites, and it controls a lot of that, of regulating the parasitical processes in the body, especially in the gut, it's real fine powder, but it's coming from glass and certain stones and things like that. But it is healthy for you. You can consume it, but there's a time frame of consuming it. Just like bentonite clay. Bentonite clay has a time frame of when you really should be consuming it. So it's normally I would do the diatomaceous earth during the daytime hours, and then I would do my bentonite clay overnight with a very, like coconut oil, making sure that it stays lubricated, so it won't get into a dry, dehydrated state. So you want to make sure you're passing, and it's accumulating everything. There's another one, of course, with the 3 combination is activated charcoal. With that, because activated charcoal helps to get all the heavy metals. It pulls those toxins, those heavy toxins, those mercury, all kind of heavy metals out of you that are into the elimination channel to flush out. Because you still got to deal with certain areas where things will rest that certain things can't reach, but you need another type of herb to help get it to come to that area to eliminate. And that's just like using parsley and cilantro for your nervous system to get rid of the aluminum, to get rid of the mercury that's on the nerve, different heavy metals that are on the nervous system. You taking parsley and cilantro on a daily basis, better as a juice, making it as a sauce inside of a pesto or something like that, to where you can consume it daily, and it will help reverse Alzheimer's, dementia, all type of things, because those are the key factors of why those diseases exist, from heavy metals on the nervous system. But yeah, you want to get the diatomaceous earth that helps to deal with the boring type of parasites, the parasites that can actually bore through your skin.
I've been taking, this is my first week on, so I ordered actually a very large bag of it. I had called the company because I wanted to start giving it to my children, and they were acting really weird, like they couldn't answer any questions and stuff like that. And my sister, I have referred her to it, and she ordered it, and she called because she's breastfeeding. She wants to know because she began taking it and still breastfeeding. They were acting very weird about giving the information. So I just been trying to get information from YouTube, and I seen you guys started this room, so I was like, okay, let me ask. I'm sure somebody has heard of it, because I just started, so I just kind of wanted to know the experience with it. And thank you. You answered it very, very well. Thank you so much.
Well, just make sure you do things in moderation, as well as portion size. You build up small to be able to consume large if that's what it needs. But if it's not what's needed, you start with the small amount for anybody, no matter who it is and what it is. Okay, you really get your body into the process of developing. It's adaptivity. It has to adapt to using it, and you want to. Take your time with certain things like this. But if you got it, like I say, you only gonna. I would say, what is a teaspoon? I would start with a quarter of a teaspoon, and I would mix it with, normally with warm water. You want to drink at least 20 ounces of water. Throughout that process of whatever you mix, you want to sit and just drink it, I think within a 30-minute to an hour's time. So that way you can also allow it to start the flushing. But you don't want to eat heavy when you're drinking this. You can't do meats and dairy products, and because that's why if you're trying to get your children to do it, you got to restrict them on certain diets during the time, and that may be a struggle. So you got to. It's everything is about strategies. I always say healing and health, no matter what you're using, herbs, what modality you're trying to use, is attentiveness. How much those that are aware of what's going on, who's able to apply. You have to have a certain amount of attentiveness and be totally aware of what you're needing to do, what's needing to take place, and how to assert it and apply it to what the measures you're needing. And that's dealing with yourself, or if you're helping someone else. And that attentiveness is what helps you to balance things as well. Because what if somebody is in a condition where certain foods that they're eating, and you need to be aware of how they're interacting with it when they start eating it, especially with children. You want to make sure that you're on top of the game and making sure that you're ahead of the game. That's just through, like you're doing now, getting knowledge about it. But again, there are certain things you can look up just Googling. YouTube may not give you a lot. You might have to do some reading, and that would be my best thing to tell you. Other than reaching out to me on a DM where I can go through my library and pick some things out and help you, to disseminate what you need to know, because it's some depth to it. I wouldn't just brush you off and say, "Oh yeah, you got it." Be careful with it. You don't want to just be able to hand it out to anybody and everybody, even though they can take it. It's the amount and the time of consuming, what to do during the process. Like the doctor always say when they give you medicine, take this every 2 hours or every 4 hours and see how you feel. Assessing the situation. Okay, being attentive to assess the situation. So once you, this is developing an awareness and assurance in you, so you'll know what to do next time. Even no matter what it is you're doing, you'll take this measure of doing it, and you can accomplish great things. Okay, so in that, I would say reach out to me, and we can talk further on the issue. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hey, hey guys, Gina here. I want you guys to know that we're talking about herbs for detox. But Stephanie, did you have something you wanted to say?
Yeah, I just wanted to actually ask one more question, if that's okay, about the burdock root for the skin. And if you had a suggestion, like how would I use that, like topically? What is your suggested use? Because I'm dealing with a skin issue on my face around my mouth that has been present for over a year, and it like flares up and goes down. And I've cut out sugar, I've cut out all yeasty foods, and I've cut out like all I'm eating basically just plant based, and I'm struggling to find out like where it's coming from, and I feel like it's something that's toxic inside that needs to come out, and maybe using herbal plant medicine could help. If you have any recommendations for that, quickly, I know you guys are on a different subject right now, but that would be really helpful.
Okay. So you're looking for... go ahead, Simone.
So, yeah, just to clarify, you're basically looking for something to help with the kind of rashes and stuff that you've been getting on your face for a while now, and you've cut out sugars and different things from your diet, and you're still experiencing this. Is there anything that you've noticed that triggers it? Any kind of environmental factors like the laundry detergent that you're using on your sheets or your clothes or anything like that, because sometimes those things could be triggers. And have you been to see a dermatologist or your doctor at all during this time whatsoever?
Great questions. Yeah, so maybe I need to find more awareness in that's like my laundry detergent and things like that. But I did go to a dermatologist, and they prescribed me an antibiotic, and I used it for a couple weeks, but I noticed that it actually made it worse. And I just have a feeling it was probably killing the good fights that were happening, trying to clear it up. So yeah, I haven't had any luck, and I'm kind of just on this like solo journey trying to figure it out and trying to get as much knowledge as possible. So I'm pretty open to any advice or anything, even if you have just more education that I could seek out, another resource or something, I'm all ears.
Did they say at all that it was a fungal infection, or was it an antibiotic or a steroid cream, or did they say it was a fungal infection at all? Why they prescribed the antibiotic?
Yeah, she gave me an antibiotic, and she did not say it was a fungal problem, but I do believe that it is fungus related. I wasn't very happy with the treatment or like the time that I spent with the dermatologist. That's why I haven't been back to her, because I just felt like she really wasn't in alignment with the values that I had, and I really wanted to find more of a natural path. And when I did tell her that I was using antifungal, that helped clear it up. And that's one thing that has helped, is every once in a while I'll use the antifungal when it gets really bad, but I just don't want to depend on that. And I'd like to figure out how I can, what is my body trying to tell me here?
So what I would suggest is, if you're definitely not happy, go back and have a second opinion with somebody else, because especially with skin conditions, you want to have a physical examination. You want someone to be able to touch the skin, to feel it, to feel how warm it is, to, if by need be, take a scraping from it to see kind of what it is, what fungal infection it could be, if it even is a fungal infection at all. What I would say is, I don't know if you have kind of any dairy in your diet right now, but you could try to cut that out. Also, some other things I would say is definitely change your laundry detergent. Change it to something that's sensitive, kind of chemical free. Check for dust around your house. Check for any mold that could be growing, because that definitely sets off your skin sometimes in so many different things. If you do have carpet in your house, try to use an air purifier or a HEPA filter hoover, because all of these things can really affect your skin and the different layers of your skin. Also, what I would say is, St. Mary's is really great. Also, what you could try is something like arnica. Arnica is very soothing for bruises. It's normally for like cuts and bruises, but if it's kind of itchy or irritable, it can take the swelling down. That's something you can just apply like before you leave the house in the daytime, at night. Also, if you live in a high pollen area, I would try to take some local honey, because it could be that you're having like a severe reaction to the change of weather and seasons. Also, I would definitely check your vitamin D levels and all of these different things too, because when that's low, it can leave rashes sometimes, random things pop up in your body, and your magnesium levels as well. I would definitely be taking vitamin D and magnesium, and just kind of making sure you're washing your face with just water. Like, just don't put anything else on it, because you could be really sensitive to an ingredient in your products that you are using and you don't know about it. But I would definitely go to a dermatologist, get a second opinion, and get it physically looked at, because especially with the skin, they need to see it in person, unfortunately, and I hope that helped.
Oh my gosh, Simone, that helps so much. Such valuable information. And honestly, the first dermatologist didn't even touch my skin or anything. It was, during COVID, so maybe they're practicing different ways. But that was so much great information. I really appreciate you guys taking the time to let me ask some questions in the room. And I'm heading off to work, and it's just been such a pleasure listening to you, Jen. Thank you so much for all the support and this room, and I'm looking forward to hear you guys more. Thank you. My name is Stephanie, and I'm complete.
Thank you, Stephanie, for joining us. Thank you, Simone. Before I continued on, I wanted to know, if Simone, if you had a list of herbs you wanted to talk about, any detoxing herbs.
Oh yeah, I have some detoxing herbs that are kind of, so I like coriander. The seed is really good. It's very calming for your kind of gastro tract as well. It helps with blood. Also, it helps reduce heavy metals, which, yeah, is very good. Turmeric root, I love the root of that. It's really good. It's anti-inflammatory as well, but also it helps support the liver, and also it's an antioxidant, so it helps to kind of detox the liver and stuff like that. Marigold, I love them as well. This is really good to kind of help restore your lymphatic glands and things like that. Any inflammation, especially for skin, it helps to repair the skin as well, which is really good as well. So you can have it as a tea, or you can blend it with kind of different herbs as well to soothe your skin, or you can even just put it in your bath as well. That and slippery bark, but this is the inner part of the bark you want. So the inner part of the bark only for this kind of detox you want with this. So you would mix kind of like 500 ml of water with the powder, and you put it kind of in a grated apple. And if you use that together, it's really good. It really helps with kind of to repair your tract. If there's anything kind of there, any gut issues, especially if you've had a course of antibiotics recently and the course is over. Fenugreek, the seed as well, is very good for your digestive cleanser. So I just soak the seeds overnight in water and then just drink it in the morning. And it smells a bit sometimes, but it's really good. You can use it in your curries when you're making your curries as well, and it's something good. Rose hip is good as well. This is good for your adrenal glands to cleanse them. It's also a diuretic, so it's a mild laxative, so that can just help you go, to the bathroom, cleanse your tract, and it also is good for getting rid of like pinworms and things like that as well. It can help with as well. And if you boost that with some kind of berries and other things like that in a tea, it's a very good antioxidant booster as well. Rosella florets, this is good, and you can use that, once a year, kind of at, let's just say, Christmas time, if that's the time you wanted to use it. And it's really good to just kind of clear everything out once a year. Really good major detox as well. Blue flag root as well. This is non-stimulating. It's very gentle, kind of laxative. It cleans out people with a lot of kind of different things. So if you suffer from low blood sugar, dizziness, things like that, sugar skin, a condition, like a very specific kind of condition, this will be good for you as a tincture. You can use it with yellow dock root as well, and Sepulina, birdwood in a kind of tincture, and this is very good to clear you out. It's non-stimulating as well. Those are just kind of celery seed as well. Celery seed is really good as well. It can clear up uric acid. So if you have like uric acid in your toes or any of your joints, it's good. You can even use it to enhance flavor in like your soups or your teas. If you kind of have any recurring urinary tract UTI infections and stuff like that, it can clear them up. It makes you increase in urine as well. So if you are kind of like doing a water fast and you wanted to clear out more and have more urine, this celery seed can definitely help you with that. And those are just some of those. Hope that helped. Thanks, guys.
Thank you for that, Simone. Thanks for those contributions. Thank you to Hero as well. Dakira, what's up?
Hey, Gina. Hey, everyone. I just came up on the stage when I heard Sherry talking, but she left, as well as Stephanie. I just had some comments and a question, if that was okay. I guess for anyone that's listening, maybe, if that's all right with you.
Sure.
I'm very familiar with diatomaceous earth, and I use it as well. and I found it very helpful with respects to detoxing heavy metals, and making sure you guys have the food grade version. I loved all the tips that Tahiro mentioned, and I usually do my detoxes kind of around the full moon, just because I noticed that the quote unquote parasites or critters are a little bit more active then. And I use that in conjunction with psyllium husk, which is an insoluble fiber, which is really good for basically getting rid of all of the exoskeletons that have basically been dried up from the diatomaceous earth that killed them all off, right? Because you don't want that, circulating in your system for a very long time. You need that to get out right away. So psyllium husk is a really good alternative option to use in addition to the diatomaceous food grade powder. And when you are using the diatomaceous earth, make sure you're not mixing it with metal. I know sometimes, that's all you have in your utensils, and it's kind of second nature to use that to mix things, but making sure you're not using it with metal, because it's a heavy metal puller. It detoxifies that, so it'll be pulling from those utensils. And then for Stephanie, I know she was having skin issues. I've struggled with that as well. I highly recommend maybe seeing an allergist, just to get your skin tested to see if you have any, to see what's actually reacting with your skin. And then for like topical treatments, dragon's blood resin has a really high auric value, and it's anti-inflammatory and as well as antiviral and antibacterial. And it helps with respects to keeping the skin young and tight. And then chlorophyll I found really helped with my skin because it helps cleanse the blood. And Tahiro, I hope I'm pronouncing that name correctly again. Forgive me if I'm wrong, but please correct me. What was the name, I think, of the herb that you mentioned, I think, for the lungs? It was harataki. Can you spell that for me, please?
Exactly. It is HARITAKI.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And that was for the lungs?
That is, it's for the lungs, but it's for the whole body in general. I do mix it with my sea moss, or my Irish moss, and those are the two things that normally I use on a consistent basis. So because it does help flush out the mucus in the lungs, it helps to get rid of the inflammation, and from all the way to the blood cell. It's very heavy, as far as getting rid of all the toxins out of the body, opening up the elimination channels so you can detox. Which is your lungs, your kidneys, your bladder, your skin, your lymphatic system.
Beautiful. I'm going to definitely look into that one for sure. And one other thing too I thought was cool about diatomaceous food grade earth is just because it's silica, it makes your bones extremely strong. Over the years, I like taking notes in a journal to see how the actual supplement is affecting me. And I used to work out quite a bit when the gyms were open, and I did a DEXA scan, which basically takes the measurements of your bone density and things like that. And without major changes to my actual diet, only with the addition of diatomaceous earth or chlorophyll or things like that, my bone density increased quite a bit, which I thought was pretty interesting.
Okay, well, I would like to know your I'm sorry, Jen, but I would like to know if you can DM me with your time ratio. What was your schedule that when you took it, and what was you doing?
For sure. Yeah, I usually just took it around. I did it cyclical. I didn't continuously take it, but I usually took it around the full moon cycles and at nighttime. But I could DM you to talk further.
Please. Yeah.
Thank you.
Hey guys. So another herb that I wanted to talk about was so I learned about this one a couple of weeks ago while doing an herbs on a Saturday, probably a month ago, but nevertheless, it was ground ivy. The herb was reportedly used for centuries to prevent Sorry. The herb was used for centuries to prevent and treat a type of lead poisoning called painter's colic and other heavy metals, making it a great herb to add to a detox formula. This herb is a great diuretic, helping to eliminate waste and toxins from the kidneys and liver. Another one that I had from before was red clover. Red clover purifies the blood by acting, excuse me, as a diuretic, helping the body to get rid of excess fluid. It is also an expectorant, helping to clear the lungs of mucus, improving circulation, and helping to cleanse the liver. Before I go into some other herbs, Harry, what's up? Are you there, Harry?
Yeah, hi. Sorry, I was just I was in a Zoom call as well. It's just literally just finished. So I was just listening to the quick introduction. My name's Harry Albridge Avenue. I'm vice president of a global biotech company based in Canada and other locations around the globe. And I'm if you see about my information, I'm ex-military. I've sort of had a quite diverse career to date. But one of the things that I think it was Stephanie that mentioned that she had perioral dermatitis around the mouth. And although I'm not a qualified general practitioner or medical doctor as such, I have access to some really highly qualified individuals around the globe. And I had a girlfriend some years back who had the same problem, and we put her on the information I got from the people that I inquired as to this situation. It turned out to be, or what cured it was vitamin D supplementation, bile salts, and basically to cut out the gluten. It was basically the fasting, I think, that cleared it up. But then obviously you need to look into your diet to find out exactly what causes it. I think it's a T cell dysfunction, the TH17, I think it is, that causes an inflammation and an autoimmune issue. But you can use, I would say recommend, I'd say not intermittent fasting, but I would go more for prolonged fasting, to do say a 7 to 10 day fast. Obviously a water fast, I wouldn't recommend a dry fast, but maybe work into it, inform yourself, and maybe look to an alternative medicine and a qualified person if you feel that you need that. But basically the no gluten, lectins, look into that. I'm sure there's people in this room that are familiar with that. So you basically cut out any inflammatory foods and basically give your digestion or your digestive tract chance to rebuild itself, because it may be a leaky gut issue, a fungus side of things as well. But if you do the fasting, it tends to reset all that. The only reason why I sort of came into the room initially was because I'm doing some research on longevity through the genome and the epigenome myself, and the fasting, I've sort of connected, I've come into the back of the Bible in a sense, because I looked at longevity as well as what the Bible says about well, basically longevity, and it refers to immortal beings that live for like 1,000 years. This is other history books that I'm referring to. So the prolonged fasting has a tendency to reset your bacterial memory. So basically, anything that you've had, and that has, let's say you've had some ailments, bacterial infections, the bacteria tend to be stored within the appendix. So this memory you need to reset, and you can do that, but it takes a prolonged fasting of about 30 days. I know that sounds quite scary to some of you, but if you read the Bible, it says 40 days and 40 nights will cure any ailment. Because as you may know, and probably most of you in the room will know, that all these ailments are food related, bacteria related, or like a T-cell dysfunction is to do with food that you've eaten, toxins that you've taken on board, etc., etc. Gluten and all these elements that cause an immune reaction, like I say, through toxicity. So if you do this fasting, you will certainly get rid of the perioral dermatitis. But when you break the fast and you eat the foods that you normally eat your diet, I would suggest that she cuts out lectins and gluten, and use things like sulforaphane, which is you probably know about that. It's to do with your mitochondria. It boosts the basically it's an energy. It gives you a lot of energy because it's food that the mitochondria looks for, as well as a ketogenic diet. And I think that is basically what I believe would cure this ailment and many others that people may have. That's my input for now, so I'm finished speaking. Thank you very much for the chance to give my view on that.
Thank you so much for both of you guys, for both of your input. I literally jumped out of the shower to hear everything and write everything down, and I'm so grateful. And it's funny because I've been in a couple of rooms about fasting lately, and I think there's something there, and my body's trying to tell me that too. So thank you, Harry, for your input. I appreciate both of you guys. Thank you. My name is Stephanie, and I am complete.
Thank you very much, Stephanie. I would suggest, and I wish for you to look into prolonged fasting. You'll be absolutely amazed once you try it and see the results. They're profound. Thank you very much. I'm finished talking.
Thank you so much, Harry, and thanks for joining us. I hope that you're following the club, and everyone else in the room. I hope you guys are following the club by hitting that green house above my head. I look forward to seeing you again in more of these rooms, especially around this topic. So I wanted to talk about one more herb, but Bunny, did you have a question?
Hi, thank you. Yes, thank you for calling me to the stage. I'm going to ask you guys to repeat some of the herbs that you were talking about. T-Hero, somebody asked about an herb for the lungs, clearing out inflammation in the lungs. I was trying to get a pen, and I missed what that was and the spelling of it. And then red clover, gintrovert, you were talking about red clover, but before you got to red clover, there was one herb before that. If you guys could repeat those for me. This is Bunny. I'm done speaking.
Yes, that was Harataki, and the spelling is Harataki. Harataki.
Thank you.
Hey, Bunny. So the herb that I was talking about was ground ivy, or they call it ground covering. I am putting together a recap for this. I put together a lot of recaps for the conversations that we have here. So if you email observingherbs@gmail.com, I can send you over the list of herbs that I mentioned, Simone mentioned, Tahiro mentioned. So you just email observingherbs@gmail.com for those guys.
That is perfect. Thank you. This is my first time in the room, but I'm learning a lot. I suffer from asthma and allergies, and I'm tired of the doctors giving me all this medicine and inhalers to take. I want to kind of clear out my system and do something better. So yeah, I'll definitely check out that email. This is Bunny. I'm done speaking. Hi, Takira.
Hi, Bunny.
When I think about some of the ailments that you mentioned, I think about the gut. I would talk to a naturopathic doctor about your gut system.
Okay, I did go to one. I live in the DMV area, and I went to one, and I was kind of disappointed with her because every time I went, she's just pushing products like buy this, buy that. I did like 4 sessions, and I was spending like $400 to $700 per session on just products that she was pushing, and I didn't see where they were helping. And I would tell her when I went back to the next session, like, yeah, I've been using this, I don't see any changes. And she would say, okay, we'll try this. And I was like, wait a minute, I'm spending all this money on this stuff, I'm not seeing any results. And I just felt like she was pushing product, and I stopped seeing her. But and I went to another one and did the hydrochloric cleansing, and that was good. That made me feel good. But yeah, I'm just just trying to get the information and try what I can. This is Bunny. I'm done speaking.
Thanks, Bunny, and thank you for joining us. I think most doctors like to push stuff, not in a malicious way. That's their way of helping, especially with herbs and cleanses and stuff like that. I think I can't remember the Dr. Brian. He's over in the West Coast. He's a gut doctor. Allergies. I would say Dr. Jekyll is a gut doctor, but there's another gut doctor. Is it Dr. Philandy? I can't remember now. Is Philandy autoimmune? I don't remember.
Yeah, Dr. Philandy, she's definitely here. She's definitely gut specialist.
Okay, yeah. Dr. Philandy is on here as well. And there's some people that you can connect with. If you send me a reminder, I can send you that in an email as well. Same email. Dr. Tersha, did you want to add something?
Yeah, thank you for having me. You were asking about naturopathic doctors, and Dr. Philandy both Dr. Philandy and Dr. Jekyll do gut health. Most naturopaths do gut health pretty well. Dr. Philandy focuses on it, so she will be a great one, and it is Dr. Jekyll that has a specialty in autoimmunity. So just wanted to share that.
Yeah, receive. Thank you so much.
No problem.
And while you research the doctors and naturopaths, Bunny, I don't know if you've heard of mule and leaf tea. That'll be really good for your lungs and just breathing, because I have allergies and asthma too, and that helps counteract certain things when I'm having trouble breathing when they're mowing the lawn or what have you. But mule and leaf tea, MULLEIN, leaf, LEAFT.
Receive. Thank you.
If I can also make or just throw out some information, I noticed that when I do fasting and cleansing, my allergies are severely decreased. In the naturopathic community, we see allergies as a higher body burden. So, as was mentioned, our bodies are being invaded or assaulted by a lot of different things, whether it's metabolic waste that our cells are producing, or it's environmental waste from the air, the food, the water, the exhaust, or whatever. If your body is not eliminating as efficiently as it should, or if it's not being able to keep up with the level of insults that it's taking in, then our body burden will increase. And one of the ways that can manifest is an increase in allergies. The allergic triad is asthma, allergies, and eczema. So if you have any one of those or a combination of those, they usually go together. So I don't know, I can't say for sure that it's going to be a cure-all for everyone, but I noticed that is what helps me the most. in having my allergic responses decrease greatly. So, if you can work with someone to help you through a cleanse or a fast, you will find that really does help. And as Harry mentioned, if you can do a longer fast, now I can't tell you to go and do 40 days without being supervised, but if you can do like regular fasts, or at least use those cleansing herbs on a regular basis, you may find that also helps. I am Dr. Trisha, and I am done speaking.
I have a question for Dr. Tersha, if that's okay.
I'm okay with that.
Okay, you mentioned that the allergies and the asthma go hand in hand. It kind of reminds me of an acupuncturist that I went to see, and he made a comment that like adrenal fatigue, and because of those two that I have together, it was because of the stress that I endured when I was younger. Because he asked when I actually developed those allergies and asthma, but I don't know if there had any merit to that. But I just wanted to know what your input was on that, because you mentioned kind of in a way that they go hand in hand, so that kind of piqued my interest a little bit.
So I cannot remember if I've heard of a direct correlation, but okay, so your immune system is affected by your stress levels. If your stress levels are very high, if your stress response is very high, then it can affect your immune system. If you have prolonged stress, or you have a very high amount of stress, then that can definitely affect your immune system. When you are under a state of stress, whether it's acute or chronic, your immune system is not functioning well, because your body's response is to get you out of danger. It's in fight or flight. So if you did have a great amount of stress, whether that was just a big one at one time or a prolonged stress, then it could definitely affect your immune system, which means that you won't be able to fight things off as easily. And because your adrenal glands are the glands that produce your cortisol, then if your adrenal glands are getting hit a lot with high amounts of stress, then I can definitely see that happening. So yes, there definitely could be a correlation between, that adrenal insufficiency or adrenal fatigue and the development of allergies.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that.
No problem. Glad I could help.
Who had that last question? I'm sorry. Figure that out.
But it was Bunny.
Okay, that was you, Bunny. All right. Bunny, did you have any other questions?
No, thank you all very much. I'm done.
What's up, Harry?
Sorry, just to add to what Bunny was asking, and let's say to add to what Dr. Tersha said about adrenal burnout, you can actually get some. You can actually do a few things. Actually, cortisol support. If you look into that, because if you adrenal burnout, you've basically you need a cortisol support, and also your stomach acid. So if you take apple cider vinegar, for instance, 2 or 3 teaspoons in a glass of water a day, so one teaspoon 3 times a day, and also vitamin D3. You need that type of support. But I'm familiar with asthma because my son had it, and it was due to a stressful period of time that he experienced through the family. So
it was stress related, but I recommend that you look into vitamin D3 and K2, the stomach acid, and a cortisol support of some kind. You can buy certain products online, but I think that's what I would add to that sort of prescription, let's say, hypothetically. Okay, I'm Harry. I finished talking. Thank you very much.
I'm just so grateful that you said that, Harry, because so many times the recommended daily allowance of vitamin D is so low. It's like it's not going to do everything because most people are so deficient in vitamin D. Anyway, so thank you for highlighting that and bringing that. This is Nature. I'm done speaking.
Absolutely. If you live in obviously a sunny climate, then obviously you can do some sunbathing. But I think even if you do, I would still support it with some D3 supplementation with a K2 addition, and take that high dose to some, because I'm sure you'll get some relief, and also look at the stomach. I don't know your age, but as you know, as you grow older, your stomach acid or the pH rises, and to keep it low, you need, well, if your stomach acid rises, I'm sure some other people, maybe Dr. Tertia, will agree or could add to this. It changes how calcium is processed within the body. If it doesn't break it down, or let's say, to simplify, if it doesn't break it down into a molecular size that can be absorbed into the bone, it stays in the tissue. So that in itself causes many issues like cataracts. Men get the problem with their prostate. Women get breast tumours, things like that. And it does stem back to the stomach acidity, the pH of the stomach. If it's not low enough, it causes problems with calcification, etc. I'm Harry. Finished talking. Thank you.
Thank you, Harry. Let's see. Oh, sorry, give me 1 second. Falsetta? Is that how you say it?
Yeah, it's falsetta. Hi, how are you? I don't know. I'm in the grocery store. If can you hear me? Okay, good. Thank you. Yeah, thank you for letting me come up and ask the question. My question is, my daughter has been suffering with during her period. She has continuous pain, and I tried a lot of things. And I don't know if you have any suggestions for the period. And also, my son has a kind of a skin rash. It just all of a sudden he has it all over his body. And if you have any recommendation or suggestion about herbal supplements, I would appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah. So definitely for the period pain, which she can use, which would be age appropriate, is thyme oil. Now there actually was a clinical study done about thyme oil, and it's actually in the clinical study, it was proven more effective than ibuprofen. So that's something you can look into, and you could, for example, mix that with castor oil or coconut oil and just put that right kind of in her belly button, and you can rub that along where her underwear would sit, and that should really help her period pain. Obviously, hot water bottles. I actually have a post on my Instagram about heavy period pains and natural remedies for them, so you could take a look at that and see if anything there could be effective for you. But thyme oil, time and time again, it really is great. Even the fresh thyme, if you boil it and have thyme tea, it does wonders for period pain, especially if people are having heavy clotting, heavy bleeding. It really, really is something miraculous. And this is even done in clinical studies where they put it up against different painkillers, paracetamol and ibuprofen, and it actually worked. It was twice I think doubly or something more effective in the clinical trial. So it's something you can definitely try.
Thank you so much. How about for the skin rash?
I don't know what kind of rash it is. So with skin things, I'm less likely to kind of give a recommendation because I haven't seen it. I don't know. For that, I would just recommend you going to your provider, your neuropathic provider, and getting it looked at. But I always say environmental factors when it does come to rashes. So just make sure there's no irritants kind of in the house, mold, dust, or kind of strong detergents being used, or even the soaps that they're using to bathe as well, or what the towels, even some of these kind of clothing have synthetic dyes that can irritate the skin also.
Okay, thank you so much.
A lot of them are synthetic and have synthetic dyes. Crazy. And then we have the nerve to wash them in crazy amounts of detergent with who knows what's in that. I do want to talk about one more herb. Hold on. So, oh yes, cilantro. So, did you know that cilantro can be used to quickly detox mercury and other heavy metals from your body? Cilantro has many detoxifying and renewing properties most people don't even know about. Cilantro can directly aid in the chelation of heavy metals as well as support your body during the detox process. This herb has been shown to enhance mercury excretion following dental filling removals. It has also shown potential for decreasing lead absorption in certain human studies. Further, cilantro offers a multitude of other health benefits that may be helpful during the detox process. A small amount of cilantro, about 4 grams, can give you 2% of your daily vitamin C needs and 5% of your vitamin A needs. In addition, cilantro contains it contains powerful antioxidants, which can help reduce inflammation, slow aging, and even inhibit the growth of cancer cells. Cilantro is often used in conjunction with chlorella, a type of green algae that can help lower heavy metal toxicity and enhance immune function during the detox. In addition, make sure to eat a healthy, balanced diet to support this detox process. Gigi, what's up?
Hi everyone, this is Gigi from Seattle area. I hope you all have a wonderful day. So my question is about Harry talked about high acid in people when they get older, and I was wondering if drinking water with pH of higher number than 9, which we can these days find in grocery stores. I used to buy them very expensive like 2 years ago, but now you can find them everywhere. I want to know, what do you think about that? What is it even effective to reduce the amount of acid in the stomach in older ages, or that doesn't really do anything? And also, I wanted to ask to please repeat the email address for the herbal herbs that were associated with their benefits. And lastly, when you talk about using these herbs, like you were talking about cilantro a minute ago, so what is the type of the cilantro? Because I usually use it in my cooking on a daily basis. I might have it 4 or 5 times a day, 4 or 5 times a week, at minimum 3 times a week. But I don't know if that's enough, because I am a victim of autoimmune issue, and I have lost my adrenal glands. They're not producing any more cortisol for me. So, and I think I was some sort of toxin got into me, and it's a long story. Anyways, right now I have a lot of allergies, a lot of inflammation, and I'm trying to find a way to reduce the inflammation because I'm really scared of developing cancer eventually. So that's my question. I am completed.
Hi, Gigi. If I can just cut in there momentarily. The pH of the stomach that I referred to, you need to bring it down, as in the pH level, a low pH level, which is more acidic. If you bring the pH level higher, which means it's alkaline, that's when you get the problems. But just listening to your ailments briefly, I think if you look into prolonged fasting again, and that, although it takes time to work up to that, I would start with intermittent, then 1 meal a day, 1 meal every other day, and then do a 3-4 day fast, because 3 days is when you go through that transitional period and your body goes into a state of autophagy. And autophagy, for those that are not familiar with that, is when the body autophagy means auto eat. Basically, your body eats the split proteins, the fungus, all the things that are causing a lot of the let's say the ailments that you're experiencing. Your body can break these down into amino acids and recycle them, but it only really starts seriously after about 3 days, and the 3 days of not eating any solids and drinking water and teas and making sure that you take trace elements. And basically what I would do is boil specific vegetables in a pan of water, mineral water, and then you drain the water out of it and use that water as your let's say your beverage, your water fast, so that you're getting trace elements throughout the fast itself, but you're not eating any solids. Now, after a 3-day fast, you're already in autophagy, which means that you're recycling all these bad or broken cells that your body needs to rid itself of. So this will already help your situation, but it depends on how long you do the fast for. So when I refer to prolonged fasting, again, it sounds shocking, but 30 days to 40 days, in the Bible it says 40 days, 40 nights will cure any ailment. And that's where my interest in the Bible came in, because it's also to do with longevity. If you do this genome and epigenome reset through the bacteria in your appendix, this starts everything. So you clear up any ailments that are caused by the microbiome imbalance. So what I would do, if I was you, I'd look into that. You can also use a naturopath to guide you if you wish. But I certainly know that would help you in the long term. In the short term, I don't know what to recommend other than do this fasting and cut out specific irritants that we know of, like lectins and let's say nightshade, which are predominantly lectin vegetables anyway. I think that if you look into that, that should help you. Okay, I'm Harry, and I'm finished speaking for now. Thank you.
So, do you have any possibility that the adrenal glands, start producing cortisol if I do this fasting of 13 days or 14 days? Well, I think I have to build up for it first, but once I get to the point that I am able to do that, is it even possible? So adrenal glands starting producing its own cortisol, or once the autoimmune has destroyed it, it's just gone and it's never come back? That's what I have been told. and I'm not looking for a magic answer, but it was just a question. Passed my mind. I'm done.
Okay, just again, briefly, I know I said briefly, but I was on for a minute or so. I truly believe that you can actually regenerate the adrenal gland to a certain respect. I'm not, I'm not saying it will reset everything, but I truly believe if you persevere, that would be the case. That's just my personal view, because I know what prolonged fasting does for everything else, and my study is longevity, along with, you may be familiar with the name David Sinclair from Harvard University, and the likes of Rhonda Patrick, and a few other people that I've now got onto the longevity element of this new development, because the fasting side of it deals with pretty much every ailment that you can throw in there. So I would certainly look for, obviously, if your adrenals are burnt out, like you say, then the cortisol support, but then the prolonged fasting should, and I don't see any reason why this wouldn't be the case. And if you do get adrenal glands that have calcified, then there are other things, and things like your endocannabinoid system. If you take full spectrum hemp oil, I would steer clear of the CBD percentage, because it's an isolate, and we know what isolates, if you don't have the full spectrum, and you're missing a few enzymes and phytonutrients, etc., you can run into long-term issues with CBD. So I would recommend a cannabidiol, as in a full spectrum cannabis sativa oil, which is basically hemp, but you need to make sure it's cold pressed, and there are only a few strains out there that I know of that you can cold press and have a less than 0.3% THC, the tetrahydrocannabinoid, which is the psychedelic element. So anything higher than 0.3% THC is illegal, as you probably know. But I would certainly look into the prolonged fasting, and also use a cortisol support at the same time, and also lower your stomach acid with apple cider vinegar, and take your vitamin D3 and K2. Just if you've taken notes, then I would certainly look into that and inform yourself. Okay, my name's Harry, and I'm finished speaking. Thank you.
Thank you, Harry. I definitely will look into it. And if I want to ask my last question, and thank you for giving me this opportunity, would be if you want to just quickly go through the process of, I know I'm already doing like 16 to 18 hours of fasting, but I know that that's not enough to do what it's supposed to do. But how is it that somebody can build up to get through a 13-day? Because, would that be alongside with drinking a certain type of things that keeps you going? I know you talked about the beverage, but anything else would be alongside of that beverage? Not solid food, but maybe bone broth or, things like that. And that would be completed. Thank you. This is Gigi.
Hi, Gigi. Yeah, bone broth's fine. There are quite a few. Basically, you're looking at a ketogenic diet post-fasting. But there are certain things that you can still consume as in a liquid form during that's why they call it a liquid fast or a water fast. I mean, the closer to the, let's say, if you're drinking, or you make I normally make 2 or 3 bottles, like I make 3 1-liter bottles and put them in the fridge. So fortunately, I have a So I get her to make the bottles up for me, and that's what part of the regime is, to make sure you have these at hand so that you don't then go into a snack. As soon as you snack on anything, you break the fast, and you've got to start all over again. So I would suggest that you take the minerals, the trace elements, as in trace minerals, and also the vegetable broth, but also make sure that you're taking magnesium, potassium, and zinc in a. I actually use magnesium hydroxide and add it to carbonated water, because the magnesium hydroxide binds with the carbon atoms in the fizzy water, so you end up with a flat water, but it gives you a lot more bioavailable magnesium, far better than anything else that you can take, any tablet supplements that you can take. But also make sure that you take your potassium. So I normally add potassium bicarb and a little bit of sodium bicarb to my water, so that I'm getting the electrolytes as well. But you can get the micro nutrients that you need from, like I say, the vegetable broth, and bone broth I believe is okay as well. But I'm trying to think. There are websites and information on the internet, on YouTube videos, I think, of making like magnesium bicarbonate using magnesium hydroxide. But I'm just thinking if I could give you any information, but maybe if you look on my Instagram and send me a message, PM me, and then I'll put something together for you and give you some guidance. And basically that's it. My name's Harry, and I'm finished speaking for now. Thank you.
Thank you, Harry. I will definitely reach out. Thank you, everyone, for giving me this time so I can present my questions.
Thank you, Harry. I don't know if my mic is on. Let's see. There we go. Sorry, guys. Thank you, Harry. Thank you, Gigi. Gigi, did you have something else you wanted to say?
Yeah, well, thousands of question passes. I understand that I can't take all the time, so I apologize for that. I'm trying to not do that. Okay, my very last question. How many times of a year is it recommended to do such fasting? Is it depending on how I feel, or is it like certain times that, like 3 times a year, 4 times a year? I mean, if there is such regulation for this type of fasting, long-term fasting. This is Gigi, and I'm complete.
Okay, Gigi. You've heard of Ramadan, I'm sure. Now, this is a yearly event, but I'd suggest. It's a long story, but if I briefly give you my experience, was that I did stem cell twice, not because I had any ailments or illnesses, but I was looking into longevity, and the stem cell therapy that I had in Kiev was actually one of our clinics that we have on a global scale, but I'm not promoting on here. But it's just that I, as a director of the company at the time, I thought I'd take the stem cell therapy just so that I know what I'm talking about if I get into a conversation with any potential clinics or clients on that with that respect. And obviously that the reaction that my body had for the stem cell therapy was phenomenal. Now, obviously, not everybody is able to have stem cell therapy, not because of the fact of the geographic location, but the cost of it. So the fasting element, which actually does promote your own stem cell regrowth, and also your senescent DNA, the autophagy actually takes out the senescent DNA, which is basically the telomeres of the XY chromosomes, as in your DNA. They burn down like candles. I suppose that's the easiest way to explain it. And eventually, once they get to their shortest length, they can mutate. But to prevent that from happening, you then go into this fasting period, which the autophagy takes out these senescent DNA telomerase. So in doing that, you basically prevent a cancerous situation as well. And then you look into promoting the regrowth of DNA using certain, basically the fasting will do that for you. It's an anti-aging thing, but you can promote it with things like sulforaphane and nicotinamide mononucleotide, which they call NMN, but that's going a bit in depth too, more in depth than probably you need to know about for now. But the prolonged fasting, I would suggest that I do it twice a year. You can do it more. You can do it once a year if you wish, but it depends on how you feel and if you're getting rid of allergies or an allergetic state. Then the prolonged fasting and even certain intermittent fasting will help you. But because you get a profound enhancement into your health, you tend to think, you've planted the seed, the tree starts to grow, and you think, I'm going to do this again because it makes me, although it's you're let's say you're out of your comfort zone for sure, because your 3 days are the hardest, because going without food is it's an alien situation to most people, and it's not easy, because the temptation to break it and to take a snack or whatever is always there, especially within the first 3 days. But after autophagy starts and your body's eating itself effectively, it suppresses it, and you don't get that sort of anxiety and urge to snack. But you can enhance that and suppress it with minerals such as potassium. So if you add these minerals to your drinking water, that also suppresses the desire to break fast and snack, and let's say cheat on the system. But you're not cheating, obviously. You're just cheating yourself, because you've got to start all over again. But the main thing that what it does as well is it shuts off insulin. And I could talk about this all night, but I'm sure that some of the people out there know the effects of insulin and insulin resistance, which is one of the elements that they know leads to a carcinogenic state because of the autoimmune and inflammation. But yeah, I'd certainly say work up to, you can do 7-day fasting, but if you want a really good epigenome reset, then you need to do 30 days and more, which is not something I would suggest you start and focus on straight away. You need to obviously work upon that, and then I would suggest that maybe you tie in an alternative medicine, or somebody that's familiar with long-term fasting, so that, because they know that and can let's say teach you, inform you of what to look for. Because if you start and feel faint, or you're doing a lot of let's say energetic work whilst fasting, you need to be aware of certain let's say pitfalls, and obviously if you're doing an energetic job, then it's probably not possible to do a long-term fast of say 30 days, because eventually you need to sort of restrict your energy output, because you don't have the carbohydrates to burn. Because although your body makes the carbohydrates from fat cells, it's something that you need to moderate, so that you don't overexert yourself and make yourself or put yourself into a situation where you can faint. So obviously that's something that you need to school yourself on. I'm Harry, and I'm finished speaking for now. Thank you.
This is a wonderful opportunity to listen to you, Harry. Thank you so much. I appreciate it that you're sharing your knowledge with everyone.
You're welcome.
My very last question, which I promise is the last one, is because this is a 13 days or 14 days or more, as you said, muscles starts to kind of, I think the muscle will start just melting down. What do you think about that, and what do you have to say about that? If that's true, if it's not, if we can stop that, or what's your thought about that? And I am done speaking.
Okay, yeah, muscle atrophy is one of the issues that you need to also understand. So that when you're doing your fasting, you produce human growth hormone from your pituitary gland. And in doing so, you need then, during the fast, to do some resistance exercising. So that is basically lifting weights. If for female, I have a sort of a regime that I recommend, because obviously squats and things like that to build a muscle that gives you a desirable shape, let's say. So it's a good point that you bring up, because basically the fact that you start produce your own growth hormone, which is something that is inhibited through certain estrogenic states. During the fasting, you produce a lot more human growth hormone, HGH, like I say. So if you do the resistance exercising, you will build muscle even though you're fasting. I know that sounds bizarre, but you actually do, because your body's producing all the hormones to build muscle. Plus, you're taking all the amino acids from everything that you're, let's say, recycling it during the autophagy stage. So the environment is still there to build, but do some resistance exercising during that period of time. So, set yourself a little routine so that you can make sure that you don't burn your muscle up. But also, I was going to say, if you're for the water, actually, I need to make contact with you, and maybe you can PM me, because otherwise I'll end up talking all night and nobody else gets a chance to speak. So I'll leave it at that. So my name's Harry, and I'm finished speaking for now. Thank you.
Thank you, Harry. And thank you, Gigi, for your questions. The email is observingerbs@gmail.com if you wanted that email for some of the herbs that we had mentioned before. And again, thank you guys for joining us today. This is Overloaded with Toxins with Observing Herbs. I'm Gina. I'm one of the founders. If you are new to the club, please hit that greenhouse in the top left corner and give us a follow. And if you found this conversation interesting, please follow our moderators. Please follow pretty much anyone up on the stage that resonates with you. So I wanted to go over, I want to get out of here. I wanted to talk about some plants. I wanted to try to cover everything. So some plants for detoxing contaminants in your environment, in your household would be a peace lily, and that's shown to detoxify many air contaminants, but particularly good at clearing benzene, formaldehyde, and trichloroethylene from your environment. And I know these words are hard, but I guarantee if you start looking into what your environment is made out of, these words will pop up in many of your surfaces and products. Another plant would be the Hedera Hilex, which is the English ivy. It is not like the other, oh wait, actually it is. It is ground covering. It's a good detoxifier. So using it as a medicinal herb is good, and also just having it in your house is good. I'd be mindful because it's a creepy crawler, and it really only needs healthy soil and things for it to cling on. So be mindful of that. It efficiently filters formaldehyde, aerosols, and fecal particles from the air. So those with animals, as long as it's not near your animals for them to eat it. And those who like to spray a lot in their air, like the Lysols and the Febreze and stuff like that. That would be good for. Philodendrons. The two most efficient kinds are the heartleaf and the elephant ear. They are excellent at removing formaldehyde, especially at higher concentrations. Also, there's it's the Dracaena, but it's the one with like the red edges. So it's the Marginata. It removes not only benzene and formaldehyde from the air, but also xylene and toluene. Other air filtering Dracaenas are the Warneke, and their Dermensis, and the cornstalk, which is a popular one that you'll see in everyone's house. It's the Dracaena with the really wide leaves. Outer part of the leaf is a light green, inner part is a dark green, and sometimes there's like a streak down the veins of the plant. But it looks like a tree. It looks like a really fat, weird, herby pine tree, I guess. I know you can find those in Dwayne Reed. I'm sorry, not Dwayne Reed. Home Depot around this time of year, but you can also weirdly find them sometimes in IKEA. And what else do I have here? The Gerbera daisy. Not only is this a flowering plant, but it is great at removing benzene and trichloroethylene from the air. Another one is the spider plant. Looks a little bit like the Dracaena, but it is more of a hanging plant. The leaves are lighter on the outside and whiter in the inside. What else about these leaves? When not watered properly, they look more gray and less vibrant. Those are really good at dealing with, one of the things they're good at as far as filtering things other than chemicals would be radiation. So those are some plants that would be good for your environment as far as helping to detox your environment. Who else? Todd. What's up, Todd? I see you up here. I'm going to turn off the hand raising though, but what's up, Todd?
Hi, how you guys doing tonight? Thanks for having me. I just want to give you guys a different perspective on the body. I'm a naturopath. I'm a detox specialist. And the human body is very easy to understand. We're just a bunch of cells and two fluids. The body is made of approximately about 100 trillion cells. The fluids that flow in between the cells is called interstitial fluid. That just means fluid that flows in between the cells. There's no such thing as disease. So that's the number one thing I want everyone to understand here, that disease does not exist. It's a fallacy. Allopathy has created a modality of diseases and put fear of God into the entire planet. They've never cured anything on this planet. All their medicines are suppressants. The only expectorant that they make is Mucinex. So what we feel in our body is acidosis. It's just a location. I don't care where it is. It's in your liver, hepatitis, your lungs, COPD, or asthma, in your brain, dementia, proteins. Proteins are acids. And there's only two sides of chemistry: base chemistry and acid chemistry. And we are alkaline creatures. Our blood pH is about 7.4, 7.36. And if our blood becomes acidic, you can put us on the clock. You got 3 minutes or 3.5 minutes, we're going to go into cardiac arrest. So our blood has to stay clean. Okay? That's very important to understand. Our blood has to stay clean. And it's a fast-moving fluid. And the heart moves the blood throughout our body with about a minute because nutrition happens on site. The other fluid is our lymphatic fluid, our lymph system. All right, so we have our blood, which compromises about 20% of the fluid in our body, then our lymph system, which compromises 80% of the fluid in our body. Allopathy is focused on the blood. They follow the Louis Pasteur germ theory, which is obtuse, to say the least. And they do not understand anything about the great lymphatic system, which is the reason why we feel all our pain, our suffering, our inflammation, autoimmune disease. I think it was Gigi was talking about her autoimmune disease and your adrenals. There's nothing to fear. There's nothing that cannot be reversed that's caused by it. There's nothing. What we have to do is understand that we're the only species on this planet that destroys our food before we eat it. Out of the untold amount of species on this planet, they all eat raw, except for the human species. We also do not eat the foods we're designed to eat. We have an omnivore diet, but we're a frugivorous species. We're not even really supposed to have, we can handle a little bit of vegetables, but true herbivores have multiple stomachs, 4 to 7 stomachs. We thrive on fruits, melons, berries, vegetables, and a little bit of nuts, a little bit of seeds, but those are really concentrated proteins. If you think about the human body, because there's only 2 fluids in it, what fluid's going to cause all the pain? As I said before, it's the lymphatic fluid, because they deal with acids. Right, so acids are going to burn, it's going to coagulate, it's going to cause stagnation, and then they disrupt the 3 energy pathways in the body, which is blood, nerve, and lymph. So when you talk about filtering out your lymphatic system, it's your kidneys and your adrenals. Your kidneys is what filters out all your sewage waste from your system. So we never think that when we eat food, we're eating food to supply the 100 trillion cells, because the cells move around, they communicate, they have cell memories. They just don't operate laissez-faire. They actually move around, they have consciousness. So we eat and we eliminate. Cells eat and they eliminate. Our digestive waste goes through our colon, but we don't talk about, and we're not learned, no one teaches us in school about cellular waste. And then we also have to deal with metabolic waste from exercise and activity. And all that waste happens whether we're moving or not. But if you're really active, you're going to create even more waste and energy. It happens all the time. So all that cellular waste and metabolic waste does not go into the blood. It goes into your lymph system and your lymph vessels. And then it gets filtered out your kidneys. But because we've destroyed our bodies through lifestyle, stress, chemicals, most people on this planet's adrenals and kidneys are not filtering properly. But you can regenerate anything that as I said, you can regenerate anything in your body. The key is getting your kidneys and adrenals working again. And the way you do that, and the different types of fasting. So I know the gentleman was talking about fasting. There's many different levels of fasting. From the highest would be a dry fast, which I don't recommend you build up. And then you can go to a fruit fast, a mono fruit fast, a juice fast. You always want to progress, but it's also very important that you always break your fast with the raw food. You never break your fast with starches or proteins, because that's very dangerous for your body. And you can fast as long as you want. There's no set time on how you fast, or how short your fast is, or how long your fast is. You got to go how your body works. But the only way you can regenerate tissue in your body is having your body in an alkaline medium, because acids burn. And so say a cancerous cell. Well, that's a cell that's mutated in a 3 pH acid. Our hydrochloric acid in our stomach is a 3 pH. So you ever had acid reflux, that 3 pH, that's what's burning your GI tract. Or if you ever drank soda, hold that in your mouth for 10 seconds, starts to burn that mucosa. So that mucosa lines our entire body from head to toe, and that's our gigantic immune system. But when you bring in acids, that mucosa starts to release even more mucus, and that's the stuff that's just the sputum that you spit out. That is mucus. Okay, that is a lipid cholesterol-based fluid. That's very, very important. It's a slower-moving fluid, not like the blood, where I said earlier the blood has to circulate the body in a minute because nutrition happens on site. My foot doesn't go to my stomach to eat. My brain doesn't go to my stomach to eat. Everything happens on site. That slower lipid-based, cholesterol-based fluid is the lymph system, but it doesn't move. Doesn't have a muscle to move it. You have to move it you have to move it. So you can move it by movement, exercise, dry brushing. That's why the example I give to my clients when I do talks is when you wake up in the morning, you may not have to have a bowel movement or you may not have to have a bowel movement, but you start to move around. I said, I gotta go to the bathroom. Well, you started moving lymph. So the key is moving lymph. Moving lymph. You always got to move lymph. And the way you check to see if your kidneys are filtering is you just pee in a mason jar. Because if you're filtering properly, if you're removing waste, there should be sediment in your urine. So that sediment will come in a cloudy form. So you'll see mucus strings, see cloudy, see sediment in your urine. If you look at your urine and it's clear, that tells you that your kidneys aren't filtering. And if your adrenals are down, everything's down. Not only if your adrenals are down, you have to look at your other glands. So your master gland, we talk about our endocrine system, is your pituitary gland. So you got to check your pituitary gland. A non-invasive way that we look at the body is iridology, started by Dr. Jensen. So you can actually see every cell, every tissue, and organ in the body through the eyes. This was discovered when a little boy was playing with an owl in the early 1900s, and the owl broke its leg, and a spot showed up on the owl's eyes. So this is what we do. We actually look at a client's eyes, and you can see the lymph system. You can see cholesterol rings. What you also can see is malabsorption in the iris because of the mucoid plaque in the transverse colon, because that's where 99% of the mineral utilization occurs in your transverse colon. Calcium is controlled by your parathyroid gland. So one thing I always have my clients also check is their basal temperature, which how you check your basal temperature is you take a thermometer and you put it in your armpit. And that's going to give you your basal temperature and tell you whether you have hyperthyroid or hypothyroid. Your basal temperature should be above 98.1. That's all I have. Thank you for your time.
Thank you for that, Todd. And thank you for joining us this evening. Again, guys, if any of that information resonated with you, please give them a follow. And anyone else up here that spoke this evening. If anyone has any last questions, this would be the perfect time to raise your hand and come on up and ask those questions or give any comments or add any value to the conversation that we're having right now. While we see if anyone else has any questions or any comments, I am going to say again, thank you guys for joining us this evening. It was great to see you all. This was a good almost 2 hours. Oh, hey, Tina. Let's see. This was a good almost 2 hours, and we'll be back here again next week at the same time. If I don't have any appointments or anything, which I shouldn't, I've been trying to keep my stuff on the calendar lately. Things are opening back up. Got to use a calendar now. Hey, Tina, what's up?
Hi, I just cut on at the very end, but I had a question. A lot of people are promoting this sea moss. What's your thought on that?
I think it's great. It has most of the minerals that the human body is made out of. However, there's a lot of fake sea moss, and there's a lot of sea moss that's been grown in tanks, which is not natural. So unless you're getting it from a reliable source that's been verified, they can give you the documentation of where they're getting it from, how they're getting it, that it's not, that it's wild, and that's the only way that I'd say to take it right now, because there's so many fake, when I mean fake, totally fake kind of sea moss that isn't even sea moss. And then there's lab-grown sea moss, pool-grown sea moss, and then line-grown sea moss, which all of them are not in their natural state. So, and there's different variations that people are throwing out there that aren't the best. So, I think me and Gintrovert, there's a few people in our group that we know that sells genuine sea moss, so I'm sure Gina or me could pass their details on to you. But if you're not getting it from a reliable source, I'd say definitely if you see it in Walmart or Target or somewhere like that, it's just not natural. And stay away from it like the plague.
I agree.
Yeah, because I know, like, when the COVID-19 came, you know, like a lot of African Americans were saying like they weren't going to take the vaccine, and that's when, like, I just seen a spurt of it. Everybody was like inquiring about CMOS, so I just want to know, was that something good?
Yeah, there are two species, main species of sea moss, Katani, which grows throughout the world. So Condus crispus is actually the only sea moss that has 92 out of 102 minerals. Sea moss that you see in the Caribbean is Katani, which is also very good, but it does not have 92 minerals. But you can still use it. It's a great mucus remover. It's a great appetite suppressant, high in magnesium. Lots of different vitamins and minerals in it. You can use it as a face mask. It's going to help build up your immune system. But again, if that's all, if you're taking that, but still bringing in acid ash food and a lot of cooked food and fried food, you're still destroying your immune system and compromising it. So the key is, and I'm not advocating everyone here eat raw, even though I do eat 99% of my diet is raw. You want to bring in living foods because food is measured in energy. It's called angstroms. So fruit has the highest angstrom, which is 12,000. Then once you break down into your mouth, digestive enzymes goes about to 10,000 angstroms. Raw vegetables, 8,000 angstroms. And then by the time it's broken down, it's 6. And not counting where it came from. You know, the soil in America is not the same as the soil in Europe or Spain per se, or down in the Caribbean with all the pesticides, or here in America. And then when you start bringing in cooked food, you're really low in energy because heat destroys. It changes the chemistry of anything that you put it to, whether it's a shirt, whether it's your fire. Whether it's your house. You know, heat destroys and changes the chemistry. So you want to bring as much raw living foods. That's what our cells like, living foods. So that now we have that energy. When you bring in all those cooked foods, it takes a lot of energy to break that down into your system, and takes away from your body's ability to heal itself. And one last thing about fasting, think about our bodies. Our body's so easy. We're just one gigantic food processing machine. But your food processing machine needs a break. And so we're not designed to eat 365 days a year, 7 days a week for our entire life. No species on this planet does that. All species fast. So it's important that you give your GI tract, your digestive tissues, a chance to heal, your body to heal by fasting, by bringing in a monofruit fast is great, doing a grape fast, doing a melon fast, a fruit fast, a vegetable fast, vegetable juice fast. Those are great ways where your body's not expending so much energy on digestion. And then also you're hydrating all the tissue. When you hydrate the tissue, you're going to start pulling out all that mucoid plaque that's in your stomach and bowels. And now mineral absorption can occur because you can't fix any deficiency in your body until you fix the absorption, then utilization, and then elimination. Because we're deficient for a reason. We're deficient because of our body's inability to absorb the nutrients through our small bowel. So again, I'll repeat this. You have to first fix absorption, then second utilization, then third elimination. All these things have to work in concert. And our body's so out of balance because the FDA and America is taught wrong, and so it's not anybody's fault. It's just the society, the indoctrination that we're raised in that's caused us to be sick. If you think about it, we're the smartest beings on this planet, yet we're the sickest beings on this planet, and there's not even a close second. Thank you guys, I'm done.
Thanks, Todd. And thank you, Trina, for your questions.
Did that complete your question, Tina?
It did. I'm complete. Thank you.
So I don't think that there's an event tomorrow, but Saturday we have Herbs on a Saturday. I think there is something tomorrow. And then Sunday we have Dr. Megan's gut room, where she'll be talking about gut health from her perspective. Um, yeah.
There's something coming up really soon, Gina, with Dr. Khalid.
Yeah, I think that's today. Oh yeah, that is today.
Today.
I'm looking
So
at
guys, there's a herbal nutrition and lifestyle approach with Dr. Khalid, and that's going to be coming up at 3:30 GMT. Gina, do you want to give them your time zone?
That's 10:30 EST. So again, guys, that's this evening. In 2 hours, Dr. Khalid will be on with Dr. Dorian. So I look forward to that. Other than that, again, guys, we'll have the herbal energetics in the morning at 8:15, and I believe Caitlin is doing Women Around the World at 6 p.m. tomorrow. Saturday, we're doing herbs on the Saturday, and then Sunday at 8 a.m., Dr. Megan is doing herbs for every body part, and then at 3 p.m., she's doing her gut room. I want to double check. Yeah, she wanted to do something Sundays in the morning, since we're not doing the herbs for the purple panda or the pandemic every Sunday any longer. So that's what I have going on. I wanted to know, or that's what Observing Herbs has going on. I wanted to know if
I missed that room so much, Gina.
I know that was a good one. Like I said, I'm gonna do it once a month, and then I let Dr. Megan do her body parts. I think that one's gonna be interesting. I'm curious. Sunday is the first session, so we'll see. But I am going to do herbs for the purple panda. Absolutely. Does anyone else up here have any events that they want to talk about? Any clubs that they'd like to mention while we are still up here?
If you're not following Observing Herbs, please click the green button and press follow. Thank you, guys.
Absolutely, guys. Make sure you're following the club for all of the updates, and you'll get alerted when any of those rooms that I mentioned just now open up. Thank you again to Hero, Simone. It's very nice to meet you, Harry, and very nice to meet you as well, Todd. I hope you guys are following, and that you guys join us next week. That would be amazing.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you for your time.
Yes, thank you very much. Thank you for your time. Much appreciated.
All right, guys. If no one else has anything to say, I will end the room in 5 seconds. Have a wonderful night, guys.
So that's my goal for myself. Not to toot my own horn, but I want to be as big as the people, so I will do whatever it takes just to be there. Also, being that I'm so young, I feel like I can touch different people. So even if I'm not as big, I feel like I can, throughout my journey, I can still try to touch as much people as I can, just to build the culture of beauty.
That's good. All right, Carla, what about you?
Hey, I just wanted to answer that question that Richard asked. I do have a brick and mortar store. It's a free space. I used to be the president of the Uptown Democratic Club, so I get a free space where I can hold workshops, where I can meet with clients and so forth. So I do have a space. Now, as far as the near future is concerned, I see one of my books
How is one to prioritize one thought, one paper bill over the other? How am I to divert attention from one paper bill and give it to the other? Aren't they all important? Shouldn't they all merit the same amount of attention? This is what I'm sold, so I'm told. If attention goes where my energy flows, where am I to direct it? My mind, it feels like it's in a crate with no right or wrong answer. It feels like a mouse, like I am the maze stuck in this game that someone else designed. Am I trying to find the cheese at the end of the fucking tunnel? It feels like I'm in this race that I had absolutely no knowledge of and most certainly did not give my conscious consent to. I refuse to run this race that I did not consent to be a contender in. I have no interest in being a participant of the rat race, which only translates to the human race. What is the prize? Well, what is the prize? A piece of poison cheese so they can watch me in agony riddled with disease? Or is it a quick snap of the trap that found me? That I
Hey, Daniel. I'm sorry, are you sleeping?